A heated altercation reportedly broke out during a Real Madrid training session between Federico Valverde and Aurélien Tchouameni on Thursday, May 7, 2026, prompting the club to launch disciplinary proceedings against both players. The incident comes amid growing tension inside the dressing room, just days before a decisive El Clásico. Here's everything surrounding the situation. Tensions had reportedly been building since Wednesday before exploding on Thursday, when the two players allegedly got into a physical confrontation inside the locker room following a rough challenge during training. Valverde's injury. According to multiple reports, Valverde fell and suffered a facial injury that required stitches at the hospital. He is also said to have sustained a minor head trauma and has been advised to rest. Consequences. Real Madrid has reportedly opened disciplinary proceedings against both players, with possible punishments ranging from fines to temporary suspensions. Transfer rumors and dressing room tensions. This incident follows several other reported tensions within the squad, including issues involving Mbappe and Vinicius, reigniting rumors about poor dressing room management. José Mourinho and the conditions for his return. In the middle of this crisis, José Mourinho's name has once again emerged as a serious option to replace current manager Álvaro Arbeloa, reportedly at Florentino Perez's request. However, the Portuguese coach is said to have demanded strict conditions before agreeing to return. Full control. Absolute authority over football operations, including complete control of the squad without interference from the board. Iron discipline. The power to punish or sideline any player in order to restore discipline and order inside the dressing room. A direct response to the current chaos. Contract. A 2-year commitment. Alright Madridistas, let's dive into today's Real Madrid news update, so stay tuned until the end for all the details. Real Madrid is losing something far more important than a match, more important than La Liga, more important than the Champions League. Real Madrid is losing its soul, and no true Madridista can accept that. Because Real Madrid is not just another football club. Real Madrid is an institution, a symbol, a football empire built on respect, discipline, sacrifice, and absolute excellence. When you wear that white shirt, you are not simply representing 11 players on a football pitch. You are representing the legacy of Di Stefano, Raúl, Zidane, Cristiano Ronaldo, Sergio Ramos, Modric, and Casillas. You represent generations of warriors who bled for this badge. And what are we seeing today? Millionaire players unable to control their emotions during a training session. A disgraceful fight between Federico Valverde and Aurélien Tchouameni. A scene completely unworthy of Real Madrid. A scene that perfectly sums up the current chaos inside this dressing room. This is no longer about frustration or competitive intensity. No, this is a complete lack of respect for the institution. When two Real Madrid players end up fighting inside the locker room just days before a decisive El Clásico, it means something is deeply broken within this squad. And the worst part is that this doesn't even appear to be an isolated incident. For months now, rumors of internal tensions have continued to grow. Groups are forming, egos are clashing, certain attitudes are becoming unbearable. There are reports of problems involving Mbappe, tensions surrounding Vinicius, frustrated players, arrogant behavior, a dressing room that seems increasingly impossible to control. And now, this violent altercation between Valverde and Tchouameni appears to confirm what many supporters already feared. Real Madrid is facing an internal crisis. A real crisis, a crisis of leadership, a crisis of authority, a crisis of values, because conflicts have always existed at Real Madrid. That's nothing new, but in the past, there were men capable of restoring order immediately. Leaders, warriors, managers who were respected and feared. Today, who truly controls this dressing room? Who imposes discipline? Who reminds these players that nobody is bigger than the club? Nobody, absolutely nobody, and that is the real problem. What shocks people the most is not even the fight itself. It's the consequences. Federico Valverde reportedly ended up with a facial wound, stitches at the hospital, and a minor concussion. We are talking about a Real Madrid player being injured after an altercation with his own teammate. It's unbelievable. It's unacceptable. We are not talking about some amateur neighborhood team. We are talking about the biggest football club in the world. The club with 15 Champions League titles. The club that should represent professionalism and greatness. And yet today, Real Madrid looks like a dressing room without a captain. A dressing room where players seem more focused on their image, their ego, and their status than on the badge itself. Because that's the truth. Many of today's players love the prestige of Real Madrid, but they do not understand the weight of the shirt. They love social media, they love sponsorship deals, they love personal statistics, but do they truly respect the institution? Do they respect the sacrifices made by the legends who built this club? Do they respect the supporters who travel across countries just to watch this team play? When you see scenes like this, the answer feels obvious. No. And the fans are tired of it. Completely fed up. Fed up with seeing players behave like spoiled children. Fed up with excuses. Fed up with oversized egos. Fed up with stars who believe they are untouchable because they have millions of Instagram followers. At Real Madrid, nobody should be untouchable. Nobody, not Mbappe, not Vinicius, not Valverde, not Tchouameni, not anyone. The club must always come before individuals. Always. And that is exactly why Jose Mourinho's name is suddenly returning with so much force. Because many supporters see Mourinho as the last man capable of cleaning up this dressing room. The last manager capable of restoring order to this chaos. Jose Mourinho represents discipline. Jose Mourinho represents authority. Mourinho is the type of coach who fears no player. A manager capable of looking a superstar directly in the eyes and saying, respect the club or leave. That is why so many Madridistas are excited by the idea of his return. Because people no longer want a soft manager. They no longer want a coach controlled by star players. They want a boss, a real leader, and according to several reports, Mourinho has already laid out his conditions for returning. And what conditions they are: full control over football operations, absolute authority without interference from the board, the right to punish or bench any player. Finally, someone who understands what this club truly needs. Because Real Madrid's problem is no longer tactical. The problem is mental, behavioral, disciplinary. This team needs a wake-up call, a clean-up, an internal revolution, and Mourinho understands that perfectly. At least he understands that respect for the shirt must always come before talent. Because a talented player without discipline eventually becomes poison inside a dressing room. And right now, Real Madrid is beginning to look like a poisoned dressing room. You can feel the tension, the frustration, the internal rivalries, players no longer fighting for one another. And football never forgives that. Never. Great teams do not win with talent alone. They win with unity, with discipline, with collective sacrifice. Look at Real Madrid's greatest generations. Even the Galacticos had leaders capable of maintaining order. Sergio Ramos could put anyone in their place. Cristiano Ronaldo trained like a machine every single day. Casillas naturally commanded respect. And today, where are the leaders? Who speaks up inside this dressing room? Who slams their fist on the table? Who reminds these players that Real Madrid is not a circus? Total silence. And when a giant club loses authority, chaos always follows. Always. What makes this even more worrying is the timing. Just days before a decisive El Clásico. The kind of match that defines an entire season. The kind of game where Real Madrid should arrive united, focused, and ready to die for the badge. But instead, the club finds itself trapped in another internal scandal. Yet another one. And while this happens, Real Madrid's rivals are enjoying every second of it. Rival media outlets are mocking the club. Opposing fans are laughing, because they see a giant beginning to shake. And that hurts, deeply, because Real Madrid deserves better than this. The supporters deserve better than this. Florentino Perez deserves better than this. The history of this club deserves better than this. The players need to understand one simple thing. Nobody is bigger than Real Madrid. Nobody. Even the greatest legends understood that. Cristiano Ronaldo left. Sergio Ramos left. Casillas left. Zidane left. But Real Madrid remained. Always alive. Always massive. Because this club will survive every player, every superstar, every ego, and those who fail to respect that reality should leave immediately. No matter their talent, no matter their transfer fee, no matter their popularity, Real Madrid must once again become a club where discipline is sacred. A club where players fear disappointing the institution. A club where the badge matters more than the individual name on the back of the shirt. Today, many supporters are demanding strong punishments. And they are right, because if the club allows this to pass without a serious reaction, the message will be disastrous. It will mean that anything is allowed. That stars can do whatever they want without consequences. And that would be the beginning of the end. Florentino Perez now faces a historic decision. Either he takes back control immediately, or this dressing room could completely explode in the coming months. Winning matches is no longer enough to hide the problems. The cracks are visible everywhere. And when the cracks become public, it means the damage is already deep. Madridistas are not asking for perfection. They are asking for respect, character, pride. They want players ready to fight for the club, not against their own teammates. They want warriors, not influencers. They want men capable of handling the pressure that comes with playing for the biggest football club in the world. Because playing for Real Madrid is not a right. It is an enormous privilege. And that privilege must be earned every single day. In training, in matches, through attitude, through behavior, through sacrifice. And if a player cannot handle that pressure, then he should leave. Real Madrid has always survived the departure of stars. Always. And it always will. But what this club cannot survive forever is the loss of its identity. That is why this story is so shocking. It is not just about a fight. It is the symbol of a dressing room losing control. The symbol of a team forgetting its values. The symbol of an institution that must react before it is too late. Mourinho understands it. The fans understand it. Now the players must understand it too. Real Madrid is not a daycare for spoiled superstars. It is a sacred institution of world football. And anyone who does not respect this badge has no place here. No matter their name, no matter their status, no matter their talent, the white shirt must always weigh more than any ego. Always. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and share to support the channel.